Christians in America and all over the world are losing their religious rights to speak and to show expression. Christians are even being targeted by government agencies as terrorists for not conforming to the changes of the land in America and other parts of the world. With the movement of gay marriages debate on top of everyone's subject matter, the gay community and Christians in America are waiting for the United States Supreme Court in June of 2013 to make a decision in which it would allow the gay community to either marry or not. Depending on the outcome of that decision, many Christians are finding out now that they are losing rights to practice their faith and show expression. In this CBN News piece, they take us across the world to show how Christians are being discriminated.
Christian employees be forbidden from wearing crosses at work? The British government says yes, and it's passed a law allowing just that. But Christians say not so fast, and they're taking their case to the European Court of Human Rights. Peter Wooding explains.
Each day, nurse Shirley Chaplin wears this cross around her neck as a symbolic reminder of her Christian faith.
When I was confirmed, I put my crucifix on. To me, it's almost sort of symbolic, like a wedding band. I made the vows to be a Christian when I was 16, 17, and I've never taken it off.
But if the British government has its way, she'll lose her right to wear her cross to work. Later this year, the government will argue before the European Court of Human Rights that employers have the right to ban their employees from wearing their cross and fire them if they insist on doing so.
So what do these office workers think about the government's plans to allow employers to ban their employees from wearing crosses to work?
I'm appalled, absolutely appalled. I can't believe it.
To be honest, I'm quite shocked that they would do this. You know, we call ourselves a Christian nation.
I think it's ridiculous. If it's a Muslim wearing a hijab or something like that, they would back them and say that it was okay for them to do it.
Chaplin believes whatever the outcome of her case, Christians need to continue to make a stand for their beliefs.
We need to stand and let other Christians make a voice so that we are heard, so that we have the equality which we all deserve.
So as this case is decided in the European Court of Human Rights later this year, Christians are praying that victory for Chaplin will pave the way for many others like her to proudly wear their cross to work without fear of reprisals. Peter Wooding for CBN News, England.
University is threatening to shut down Christian groups on campus over their membership requirements. The school has put 4 groups on provisional status because their bylaws include requirements such as Bible study and worship. Charlene Israel has that story.
The trouble began after an openly gay student says he was kicked out of a Christian fraternity last year. Vanderbilt then launched a review to make sure groups were abiding by its non-discrimination policy. But that policy does not protect religious groups, making it against the rules to have only Christian leaders in Christian organizations.
I think the policy is totally irrational and that it's geared towards suppressing religious groups, especially evangelical Christians.
Dr. Carol Swain is faculty advisor for the Christian Legal Society, one of the groups under provision.
It specifically is being applied in a way that Bible studies are jeopardized, worship services. I mean, these are things that Christians do, not any other groups on campus.
In a statement, Vanderbilt says it's exploring the concerns that religious organizations have with the policy.
These rules essentially will reduce the religious diversity on campus overall, where religious groups now can't even say that we want a Christian group to be led by a Christian.
Vanderbilt was founded by the Methodist Church, and some feel this is defying the school's religious history.
Up until now, the campus had always been very welcoming of religious individuals.
If you look at many, if not most, of the great universities across the nation, they were founded by deeply religious men. They were set up as religious institutions, and one by one, they're gradually moving away from that.
Vanderbilt says it just wants to be sure all students can participate in the organizations that interest them. But Swain feels this is a deeper issue of forcing Christians to compromise their beliefs and integrity.
If you think about the parents, they're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to send their children off to be educated, and what's happening on these campuses in many ways is geared towards destroying their faith.
Charlene Israel, CBN News.
Christians all over the world are being discriminated by because of their beliefs. Right here in America, there's a group called the Alliance Defense Fund who urge Christians to stand up to fight.
Hi everyone, it's the week of April 18th, 2011, and we wanted to let you know about two appeals ADF filed last month with the U.S. Supreme Court over the right of public university students to fight policies that muzzle speech. Essentially, ADF is asking the Supreme Court to resolve a disagreement between federal appeals courts as to whether students can challenge college speech codes that regulate free speech on campus. One case involves a lawsuit that was filed when, after a student gave an assigned speech in a speech class, a professor at Los Angeles City College called the student a fascist bastard, accused him of offending other students, and ultimately wrote on this student's evaluation form, "Ask God what your grade is." And what was the offensive content of this student's speech? He simply spoke about his personal faith and the meaning of marriage. The other case involves an appeal on behalf of a student group at University of Maryland, Baltimore County that was forced to move a pro-life display to a nearly deserted location on campus because the administration said it might, quote, emotionally harass students. ADF Senior Counsel David French commented on both cases by saying that Christian and pro-life students should not have to suffer under unconstitutional policies and risk their academic careers before they can challenge those policies in court. But do pray with us that the Supreme Court will intervene to uphold students' First Amendment protected rights. And thanks for watching.